go down and confuse the people. This is God talking. He says, come, let's go down and confuse the people with different languages, and they won't be able to understand each other. Now, and I know that some of you are like, oh man, God's mean. No, He's saving them. He is saving their bacon right now. Because if He let them continue to go the way they are, they would have been in a world of hurt. They would have been not serving God, and we would have had another flood. It would have been horrible. Man, it would have been horrible all over again. God is saving their bacon. I mean, He is saving them. And you may wonder why sometimes things happen to you. God's saving your bacon. I love it. I love some of the sayings now. Ryan Lestrange. I would love to. I don't know if you know him. He's actually ministered. Yes, he's prayed over me and Laura before. He's awesome. Oh, he's incredible. That guy's a little firecracker, man. Yeah. I'll tell you what. And love to have him come back here and minister to everybody. Oh man, he's incredible. And man, I got so far off on that. I forget what we were talking about. What was I talking about here? Oh, a saying that he says. I follow him on Instagram, and he says this. He says, "You haven't lost that friend. God just moved him out." You didn't lose a friend. God just moved him out of your life because it was going to take you down the road that you didn't need to go down. Don't get confused sometimes when God does something and you take it as a negative circumstance and say, man, God's just this mean God and God's doing this thing. No, He's saving your bacon. He's removing things in your life that don't need to be there, and He's got to get them out. And the problem is you won't let them go, so He has to remove them. And then that's not very fun. I don't know if you've ever had anything ripped out of your hand when you're holding as tight as you can and someone's stronger than you and they just rip it out. Oh man, that really hurts your fingers. That really hurts. I had a rope one time. True story. They've moved to New Mexico now. But Travis Mills, I was helping him and his wife, Mindy. I was helping them. They were cutting down a tree. And me and Mindy, we were the rope holders. And he was cutting off chunks. He was trying to, and then he was dropping them, and then we'd lower him down. Long story short, he cut off too big of a chunk. And Mindy and I, we became rag dolls. That's all I got to tell you. Literally, I'm holding it like this, and that rope picked me up and just chucked me. I went 10 feet just flying in the air. She ended up wrapping herself around a tree and breaking like 3 ribs. It was not good. It was bad. I'll tell you what, my hands did not feel very good. That rope hurt. You know, you should have said, let go. Well, in that split second, your mind's not quite working that fast. You know, you're still holding on because in your mind you're thinking, I got to hold the rope, I got to hold the rope. I'm 10 feet in the air. Hey, this is wonderful. I think I should let go of the rope now. Okay, now I fall down. You know, your mind's got to catch up to the split section action that's happening, that's taking place. And it finally caught up and I let go of the rope. But by that time, I was already thrown and she was around a tree. Oh yeah, it was not good. And so the thing is that God will just rip it out of your hands if you're not willing to let it go. And then we go, oh, God's such a mean God. No. He's just saving you. Don't get that confused. Don't get confused. All right, let's continue on. I think I got one more verse. Yep, 8. And that way the Lord scattered them all over the world, and they stopped building the city. He was saving them from exactly what they shouldn't have been doing. They wanted to be famous, and they wanted to have their little clique. No more. He says to go into all the world, not stay in the hovel. Go into all the world. Again, one of the few times God has taken a negative circumstance and showed us that we can do anything if we become united. One vision, one focus, we can do this. God knows His children. And for church, when we become focused with one vision, anything is possible. When husbands and wives and family are focused on one vision, anything is possible with that family. That's why we find out, and this isn't up here, I didn't give it to you, but John 8:44, where it says Satan is the father of all lies. That's exactly why Satan today, his new strategy is confusion. That's his new strategy is confusion. And right now the world is very confused on a lot of things. Who is who, what to do, all kinds of stuff. What's right, what's wrong. The things that used to be wrong are now right, and things that are right are now wrong. He's the father of all lying. He wants to bring confusion. 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 33, it says, "For God is not the God of confusion, but of peace, and in all the churches of the saints." And so if he's not the God of confusion, who is the God of confusion? Satan. He's trying to confuse everybody right now. Oh, you don't need God. You don't need church. You can be a Christian and just stay at home. You know that, right? And I'm not saying that you have to come to church to be a Christian, but we've talked about this before. If you're a Christian, you want to come to church. You know, if I want to get stronger and lift weights, I guess I want to get stronger and lift weights, but, you know, I don't think I need to go to a gym to do that. I want to make money and I want to be a millionaire, but you know what? I don't think I need to go to work to do that. See the confusion in that philosophy that we have? God's not the God of confusion, so Satan is the God of confusion. And he's trying to confuse us in what's right and what's wrong today. And he's trying to twist everything around. He's the father of confusion in the sense, look at the fruit. Doesn't it look good? Doesn't it smell good? Oh man, you're going to be just like God. You'll know the good and evil. He wants to take it and confuse it. He wants to twist it. He wants to work it. And that's his new plan that's out there today, is becoming confusion and bringing confusion to the world today to know what's right. Man, we've been studying. We're done now about Revelation. But that whole, from about chapter 14 almost all the way to the end, except for the last verse or two, or the last chapter or two, talks about how the people did not repent. Talked about how people served, even though that bad things were happening to them, they just kept on serving the enemy, the Antichrist. It's amazing, blows my mind. People are hitting their hand with a hammer, and they're going, man, that really hurts. Man, I should really stop this. Man, I don't know why my hand hurts so bad. Man, things are not happening good in the world. Man. And you're like, stop. Stop it. Stop going down that road. I even read a headline. I don't know if I read it right or not. Sometimes I'll be honest, I read the headline and I'm like, what are they trying to mean with that headline? It's a little confusing. Huh? Ain't that amazing? And I said, man, it's a little confusing the way they worded that. Why don't they just make it a... But they said now that the Democrats are trying to revamp in California because they're finding out it doesn't work. As Jeff Foxworthy used to say, here's your sign. I don't know what else to say. It doesn't work, and it won't work. Very confusing. But if we as believers come together with one heart, one mind, working together with one vision, one focus, nothing can stop us except for God Himself. Nothing can stop us but God Himself. That means the government, that means Payson, that means your neighbor. If we're all united, there's nothing can stop the power of God from moving and flowing from this church or any other church in this community or in the world except for God Himself. We just read it. God came down. Nothing was going to stop them. Nothing was impossible. If they would accomplish this, then the next time they put their minds to something, they're like, we got this. No problem. They say in all the books that I've read about finances and making it rich or anything like that, they say the first million is the hardest to make. Once you make the first million, it's easy after that. Because you want to know why? You realize it's possible. But before you, until you made it, you like, this is going to be impossible to make $1 million. But as soon as you make the million, they say it's easy after that. It just starts flowing. There's no problems after that. And $1 million and $1 million and $1 million just keep on adding up. But you got to get that mindset to make the first million. We got to have that first mindset and get the confusion out and be all in one and stay focused. All right, guys, we're finishing up here. I'll even throw this back in there too, same as husbands and wives. If you become one-minded, one vision, nothing can stop you as a couple. But he's trying to bring confusion even in marriages today. Luke chapter 6, verse 45 says this. It says, a good person produces good things from the treasure of a good heart, and an evil person produces evil things from the treasures of an evil heart. What you says flows from what is in your heart. I didn't say this to begin with, but it says what you focus on most is what you're going to do or going to become. What you focus on most is what you're going to do or what you're going to become. What's your focus? Again, a person perceives good things. Luke 6:45. A good person produces good things from the treasures of a good heart. An evil person produces evil things from the treasure of an evil heart. What you say flows from what is in your heart. What's coming out of your mouth today? Because that's your focus. That's your focus. Listen to your words. I mean, I know this would not be impossible, but it would be really difficult to do, and you would be aware of it. So you probably would change your verbiage. But wouldn't it be amazing if I could hook a recording device up to you, and you not know it's there, and you go through the whole day, and I wouldn't listen to it, but just to give that recording device back to you and say, listen to your day. Of the words that come out, and I'm not saying your mouth, I'm saying our mouths. Because I'll be honest with you, there's times I'm walking to a bus to go check it out or do something like that, and I'm saying it might not be out loud, but it's on my mind. Boy, I want to punch that driver in the face. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm not going to exclude myself from this conversation. Or I'm not really united. I want to unite my fist with their face, but I'm not united with them in heart or mind. Sometimes I want to rip their hearts out. I'm not joking. That's getting pretty bad. I still want to punch them in the face. But anyway, it just getting frustrated. Know that I would never do that, of course. But just the frustration for the moment that comes over me, and then I'm like, all right, Lord, nope, got to change this around. Got to change, take captive of my thoughts here. Where am I going? Luke chapter 12, verse 34. It says, wherever your treasure is, there's the desires of your heart will be also. That's where your focus is. That's where your vision is, and that's where your focus is. Wherever your treasure is, there the desires of your heart will be also. Wherever your focus is, there will be the desires of your heart. What's your focus today? I tell you, sometimes we lose focus, man. Where's your focus? What is your focus? For David, that day was killing the giant named Goliath. That was his focus for David. His focus was on it. His vision was there. And because he had the vision, because you know what, and I didn't give you the scriptures, and I didn't even think about this until right now. But if you go back to the scriptures, and when he's talking to King Saul, he said this. He goes, God rescued me. He goes, I took down a bear and I took down a lion. God will surely rescue me from this Philistine. Something to the effect of that. That's pretty close. He already had the vision of Goliath falling. Then he just went out, stayed focused, and it happened. He already had the vision of it happening. He already knew it was going to take place. Because the vision was there. If he didn't have that vision, guess what happened physically to the children of Israel, the army of Israel? They would perish. They would have died. Because someone that didn't have that vision would have went out there and fought Goliath, and they would have been shaking in their boots the entire time. Right? I mean, no one had stood up yet. I mean, it came to the point where the king actually had to start throwing out prizes. Rewards. Hey, you can marry my daughter. I'm going to give you riches. I'm going to do all this stuff for you. He had to start throwing out prizes just to get them to go. He started throwing out Twix bars. Come on, come on. That was a little joke. That's what we got. The last thing the Lord told me was this when I was finishing up my message. He said, Mark, your vision and focus needs to be bigger than yourself. It's got to be bigger than yourself. Life was definitely bigger than David. It's got to be bigger than yourself. And you know why it's got to be bigger than yourself? Because when it's bigger than yourself, then you know it's God. And then when it comes and happens, you can't go, look what I did. You have to go with what he did. Then all of a sudden he becomes famous and not you. Look what he did. Look how awesome he is. Because every time that David spoke and he said, today he defiled my God is going to take care of you. Right? He didn't say, I was. He said, he's going to defeat you, then I'm going to kill you. It's a tag team with God. We're in this together with him. He took care of him, took him out. David finished off by chopping off his head so he could show everybody. And back then it was a good, they did that as a ritual. I mean, because what they would do is that they would, when you come into a town, they would stick people's heads on the fence posts when you came in, so you know how tough their town is. Don't mess with us. This will happen to you. Could you imagine coming into Payson with a whole bunch of heads on the street? People would be turning around and pulling back. Payson's not a friendly place. There wouldn't be any crime yet. But that's what they did. And so they took it. It was proof, and that's a whole other message, but it was proof, and it was to show how great God is. Because you can say it, but then when there's proof behind it, then it changes the whole story. David took his sword. Incredible. Whole nother message. But anyway, praise the Lord. Everybody bow their heads and close their eyes. We got to go. As I said, this is the last one on focus. And I believe that God saved the best for last. I'll tell you, for the last 4 weeks that I've been speaking on focus, man, Satan has been trying to tear me up with my focus. And so I ask you, what's your focus today? Without a vision, the people will perish. Without a vision, without that focus of that vision, you as an individual will perish. What's that vision? What's that focus of coming to church? Again, where do you see it? You see yourself in serving God in here. Do you see yourself in a ministry? Do you see yourself reading the Bible through? Do you see yourself preaching? Do you see, where do you see yourself? Where's that vision at of where you're at? Why are you here? Is it here to say, God, within 6 months, I want to be the best worshiper in the entire church? And you can say, well, that's kind of conceited. No, man, I'm here to worship God. I want to be the best worshiper in this place. I want no distractions when the music is going and we're in the midst of worshiping. When that guy is up there and he's preaching a sermon, I'm worshiping God and listening to him. I want to be the best worshiper. Where do you see yourself? Where's that vision at? Where's that focus at? In your lives, husbands. If you're single here today, single mom, where's that vision? What's the vision for your family? Where's your family heading? Where's it going to? You as an individual, where are you heading in life? What's the focus? Is it just trying to go here and there? Or just, some of you might even be thinking, I'm just trying to survive, Mark. Then your vision needs to get bigger. Your vision needs to get bigger than just besides survival. As your heads are bowed and your eyes are closed, and he asks the first question, and that's this: that you need to give your life to the Lord this morning. Because that's where it all starts, is right there. That's when the vision comes, and that's when the focus comes. So this morning, you don't know where your life is, and you want to make sure it's right with the Lord this morning, I want you to just quickly raise your hand. You can put it right back down. Anybody here? Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else? Our last question is this. And I'm hoping my sermon wasn't like really negative, because I really wanted to be positive in the sense that if we can grab hold of the vision, you as an individual, you as a couple, you as a family, us as a church, and it goes on and gets bigger and bigger, that nothing is impossible for us to do. I think about the Halloween outreach. The very first year we did it, man, it was a big deal. But then after that, it came so easy. There was no big deal after that. That first time is always getting through it. But then you realize, hey, nothing's impossible first. Nothing's impossible. When God was saving them from themselves that day, He said, I can't let you guys do this. I got to save you from yourself. Man, this is incredible. But you're doing it for the wrong reasons. If you're doing it for the right reasons, I'll just let you go and do what you need to do. He said, so I got to save you. So I got to change your language. So you can't speak the same. So this morning, what's your vision? I'm just going to put it this way. If you're here this morning and you say, God, I need a vision. And I need to be focused on that vision. I've lost my focus. I've lost my vision. Or maybe you don't have it. And you need it. If that's you this morning, why don't you just quickly raise your hand? Thank you, Jesus. Thank you. Amen. Thank you, Jesus. Amen. Thank you. I'd like for everybody to just repeat this prayer with me. Say, Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for allowing your Son. And thank you, Jesus, for coming to this earth to die upon a cross so that I could be saved. That I could give my life to you. That I could serve you all my days of my life. That I can surrender everything to you. From everything physical to everything spiritual is all surrendered to you. I love you, Jesus. And this day, God, I will be focused on the things that you place in front of me. Not to get distracted from other things around. But to grab hold of that vision and to stay focused. In your precious name. Amen. Amen. I'm going to ask Dan if he'll come up and dismiss us in prayer.
Focus. Focus. What's your vision? You know, with what happened this morning about the service, the enemy was trying to disrupt, right? And if Mark had not had a clear vision and focus of what God had called him to, that could have disrupted the whole day, and we wouldn't have had a good sermon. We wouldn't have had a good time of fellowship, you know. And I know that firsthand. Right now, some of you know, I'm working on a remodel project around my house, and I'm the kind of person that I don't have a lot of patience waiting for people to show up and do what they're going to do, right? And the Lord's been teaching me, you know, focus on me. Focus on me. Trust that I will make it happen when it's supposed to happen. And time again, that's exactly what it's been. Focusing on Him. Paul wrote in the scriptures, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So each one of us can do the things that God is calling us to. What is the vision God is giving you today? And ask yourself, how can I walk that out? How can I trust God enough and step into all that He has for us? You know, the Great Commission says to go into all the world and preach the gospel. Preach the gospel. Teach people what I have taught you. So I'll challenge you this week. Look for someone to bring to church next week. Look for someone that you can share the gospel with. Because our job is to bring as many people with us into the kingdom as we can. Because the alternative is not good. So bow your heads. Lord God, you have spoken a good word to us today, and I pray that each one here would have a clear vision and a clear focus this week, Lord God, and that we would all be strengthened by the fact that your Spirit dwells in us, that we would be able to accomplish what you're calling each of us to do today. In Christ's name.